What exactly went wrong here? How did Zoss drop the ball with this event so spectacularly? Hey everyone, it's Spopes. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about everything that went wrong with the Writhing Wall. Let me know what you think in the comments once you get to the end. You are going to watch till the end, right? And don't forget to like and subscribe, hype it if you're on mobile. And yes, my daughter did crochet me a necklace and I love it. Just starting with a little bit of background, to say the Writhing Wall event was not warmly received by the community would be like saying 9/11 was not very warmly received by the American people. From the buggy progress bar, which basically just shows whatever progress Zoss wants us to see, to the rewards for the daily quests, which are lackluster at best, to the fact that for an event that's all about cooperation, there's an awful lot of competition. The fact that the whole thing is kept behind a paywall, the activities are pretty bad. This honestly just scratches the surface of all the complaints I've just personally heard about the Writhing Wall since the event began. And no, it hasn't gotten any better in Phase 2. Phase 2 is basically exactly the same, except that now instead of one siege camp going at a time, you have two. So I'm going to start with my personal gripes at the top of the list, the things that bother me the most, and then I'll go through everything that I've heard and remember from what you guys have said. If there's anything you don't like about the wall, I ask you keep it civil in the comments, but the whole point of this video is to acquire feedback. Maybe someone at Zoss will see it. Maybe this will go down the pipe in some way. But in any case, even if it doesn't, it's important that we all voice our frustrations and collaboratively come together in terms of what we hope for the future of the game. So I would just encourage you not to just say the event sucks, I hate it. I know I've heard a lot of that already, but just mainly if there's anything that I missed that is also bad, please just as civilly as you can possibly muster the effort to be, just put that in the comments. I really appreciate it. So my personal biggest pet peeve with the event, and something that I haven't seen mentioned at all, is that you don't get any XP for monster kills at the siege camp events. Yep, just nothing. You don't get any XP from killing monsters. And my question is just why? Like, did they mess it up? Was this intended? If so, why? Like, I rolled up here the other night. I have an Argonian. I'm leveling up. I was like, oh, this is probably better than doing Alakir Desert Dolmen runs because I'll get XP and I'll get the meager rewards they have to offer. But then it was like I was late at night and I was kind of out of it. And it took me a while to realize, wait, no, I'm not getting any XP from doing this. So again, why? Like we should get XP from doing this. Why not? You get XP at the end, like when you finish it off and there's the chest that you get at the very end. You do get some XP from that. And it's about the same that you get from finishing off an Alakir Dolmen or any Dolmen. And then you do also get XP for when you turn in the daily quests, which makes me think they thought that, the daily quests offset the XP gain enough. It doesn't matter. They're going to get XP from the quests anyway. Who cares, right? But that would have driven engagement. So many more people would have played if there was just XP to be gained from farming new or low level tunes. So yeah, this is something that just doesn't make any sense. But I did get some XP there at the end, but not at all during the process. I just have no idea why they made it this way, but I call BS. I think this is ridiculous. Turning that into constructive criticism, in future events like this, Zoss, please make sure that the monster kills reward XP, or else why are we killing the monsters? Okay, thank you. Moving on. The next thing that really gets me is this absolutely janky progress bar. It does really seem like Bush and Obama educational policies have come to bear in the world of ESO, and they are grading on a curve. They are giving the schools with less funding more computers. They're rewarding failure, essentially. I haven't been able to track down the exact statement, but before the event began, they said they'd be awarding XP based on server population, basically meaning that the lower populated servers would get more XP for the Writhing Wall event. This just doesn't make sense on so many levels, but what it means practically is that because the European servers have less population, they actually get more XP, that their progress goes faster. And because PC North America has the most players, its progress goes the slowest. So success is punished, failure is rewarded, and these progress bars ultimately mean nothing. So the whole point of the event, the way it was billed from the beginning, the idea was that all of the servers were going to compete with each other while the players cooperated with each other. We'll get to that later, but the servers were supposed to compete with each other to see who could get through the writhing wall fastest. But from the very beginning, when they just jumped up the rate of progress on like day one, when they realized it wasn't going to happen the way they set it up, they've been messing with the numbers from behind the scenes. And apparently the XP was more weighted toward lower server populations to begin with. So this doesn't really tell you anything at all about which server is best. There is no actual competition. They've all just been sort of Harrison Bergeron to make sure that every single server gets to the end at basically the same point. Everybody gets a trophy, except that nobody even really wants the trophy anymore. We just want what we paid for. I just feel like this was so massively botched and it could be done better in the future. I don't know exactly how it could be done better, but I know that this was not the right way. Ultimately, the way they handled it just made this whole progress bar meaningless. It's just kind of this prop put in there to add legitimacy to the event while there is no actual competition. Everyone's just going to finish when they say you're going to finish. It adds this level of futility and like we're being messed with to the whole issue that's already there. Everything else that's wrong with the event is compounded by the fact that our progress doesn't even mean anything. I honestly feel, and I know there's lots of problems with the event, but I honestly feel like this is the biggest one because it has to do with the underlying philosophical integrity of what they're trying to put across here. It erodes at the very meaning of the event. So the other issues that I'm going to get to as we go on in the video are bad, but they could have been mitigated by at least making this meaningful, by making there actually be meaningful progression. Like maybe not grade it on a curve, but make it go faster the more you do, make it speed up at the end, actually reward how much effort you put into it. This was just a terrible way to handle this. And I feel like it is kind of like the cardinal or original sin of the event itself. So yeah, the term I was looking for a second ago is dynamic scaling. They could have made the progress dynamically scale to actually reward effort, but instead they chose to punish efforts, reward non-efforts, which is just kind of like par for the course with today's culture. But why? Again, just a big fat why. So next, and I'm sorry to say it, but the activities just suck. These are just glorified dailies, where this is just the same daily as when you used to go out and do the incursions in other zones. This daily is absolutely terrible because you need to get vitrified souls off of enemies that you're competing to kill. This one is somehow even more terrible because you have to go to different areas in the map and collect materials from monsters that you're again competing to kill. And then on top of that, you just have some basically jumped up crafting dailies, which is cool that there are 5 of them, but you can do all 5 and still get basically nothing. So here's what I was thinking going into the event, and call me naive, all right? But this is a battle for the writhing wall, right? It's a battle. It's not just like preschool. So I was thinking there'd be like actual dudes coming through the wall. Like you'd have to stop them. They'd be pouring forth like the hordes of hell. And it would be you and your friends up against them, defending against wave after wave of enemies. Maybe you'd actually go through the wall and do some sabotage or some spying or something. It wouldn't just be this poorly textured and buggy prop. What is this? It looks so weird when you get up close. Like that's not right. Being go right up to the wall and absolutely nothing is happening. There's nobody coming out. There's no sense of urgency, just the same kind of incursions we've had in every single zone. You go around and you do them. Maybe there would have been some actual changes to the landscape, like fortresses of the worm cult appearing that you'd have to knock down and break. But no, it's just incursion dailies again for like the 10th time. So yeah, the activities are bad. I feel like I've said enough about that now, but that is like a major thing that Azos could do differently if they ever do this kind of events in the future. Make this actually worthwhile to do, fun, different, engaging. There's this thin veneer of it being different, like this shell game they do where they tell you it's something different than the daily quests they've had in every other zone, but it's not. It's the same, and it's repetitive and boring, and it feels pointless. It feels like you're not doing anything. Now, here's another major point of discontent I have here. The event was billed, again, like don't trust the marketing, but what they said is that the event would be all about cooperation. You'd be working together to fight off these enemies. But in the end, what happens is you're competing for kills to get vitrified souls. This is way worse in the delves where they have you going, the delves that have changed based on the event, but it's pretty bad here. I think it was bugged originally and they fixed it, but you have to tag enemies and get some, reasonable damage on them. I think that's how it works to get vitrified souls. The overall underlying issue here is there's no sense of cooperation. It feels like every man for himself. I can honestly say I don't feel like I've cooperated with anyone the entire time I've done this event. See, my vitrified souls were easy that time, but before they weren't, and this is still a problem in delves. And just in general, I don't really feel like there's any sense of cooperation. If there had actually been waves of enemies coming through the wall, like I was talking about earlier, that would have been totally different. Where there's actually stakes on the line, you have to stand up and defend against the worm cult coming. Yeah, just in general, what was billed as a cooperative event has been very solo friendly instead. There hasn't even been any incentive to group up or anything like that. No incentive to work with your guild. This is one that's really just like a missed opportunity. Like they had the opportunity to really lean into this whole cooperation angle and they just didn't. And again, why? All right, here's one where I don't exactly know how I feel, but I really feel like they should have made access to Western Solstice available to everybody, whether or not you've bought the chapter while the event was going on. Maybe you wouldn't have had access to the quests, the main story quest, etc. But you'd be able to come in and explore it and partake in this event, which is supposed to be like the entire server working together, right? But instead they segregated the servers and then also segregated the people within the servers to people who'd gotten the content pass and people who hadn't. This could have served as a temporary free trial of this chapter. Instead, they just dangled it in front of everyone's noses and said, hey, you can buy the chapter at a discounted price if you want to jump in. They could have even just had the trial going for 7 days or something, but everyone would have been able to participate. And I don't know, I'm not part of the financial crew at ZOS, but I honestly feel like this would have pushed more sales in the way that they handled it. Instead of having FOMO, you would be able to participate. And then if you wanted to participate more and get to the eastern side, you would have to buy it. But they could have at least let everybody in while it was in progress, even if just for a week or 2 weeks to participate, see how it worked. And if it was only for a week or two, then once all of the base game players were booted out, their friends would say, hey, we need you back. Come help out with the progress again, and incentivize them to come buy it. This just seems like a very just poorly thought out and just kind of brainlessly greedy move on behalf of ZOS. So I wouldn't have handled it this way, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. We're starting to wrap things up now, but I can't end without talking about the rewards you get for the event activities. At the end of every siege camp, there's a chest, and you have a chance of getting some reasonably good stuff. There are a couple new motif patterns. There are these fragments that you can get of a pet and a skill style. And then you also get these coffers from completing the dailies. The first one of each type you complete, you get a golden coffer. And then you get these blue ones from then on. I'm just going to open a few of these and see what I get. One shard of the skill style, some zone-related items, something worth 250 gold, and a crafting item you need to make things in that style. This one at least had a motif chapter in there, something I already have 25 of, another 250 gold thing, and another crafting material. The blue ones are sad though. That's basically all they ever have, is just like one thing. And if you do the crafting ones, it's just like a couple materials. So yeah, this honestly isn't the biggest gripe to me, but I know that for a lot of you, you were hoping the rewards would be better, and I definitely was too. Like, don't get me wrong. The rewards could have been a lot better. They don't even match up to the rewards you get from normal events. The Witches Festival event felt way more rewarding when it was going on than this. So yeah, overall, this was just a terrible approach to what was billed as being the biggest and most rewarding and most exciting events in ESO history. Advertising it like that, only to underdeliver, has only widened the breach of trust between ZOS and its player base. If this kind of thing continues, the game will continue to decline. There will be less chance of it ever reviving. I really hope that ZOS carefully looks at the feedback, not so that we're vindicated or they know that we're grumpy with them, but just so that they can actually act on it and improve the game and make sure this kind of thing never happens again. That's the main thing I care about. Like, I'm disappointed, but me being mad is definitely subsumed by me just wanting this to not happen again and for future events to be better. So again, I'm just really hoping someone sees this feedback. Please do share it anywhere you can. Let everyone know that someone has come out and put all of our complaints in one place. Well, again, I'm not overtly trying to be negative or complain here. This is meant to be constructive feedback so the game can improve. I kind of feel like I'm just yelling into a well at this point. We'll see. But the more that you watch and share and like and comment, the more likely it is this will be seen, the more likely it is that our voices will be heard, and the more likely it is, even if it's a long shot, that Zos will actually listen and make sure things are better in the future. If you've been watching some of my more recent videos, I do think there is significant reason to believe that the future of ESO will be brighter than its present. But I also think that a big part of making it that way is us reasonably and intelligibly making our feedback known so that Zos understands that this is the kind of thing that will make or break the game going forward. It was deceptive. They lied to us. They said it was going to be one thing and it was another. So we need to be vocal about not accepting that and also provide constructive feedback about what could be better in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. That about wraps it up. Again, please don't forget to like the video, hype it if you're on mobile, and subscribe if you haven't. I would also be so appreciative if you'd support me further by leaving me a super thanks in the comments or joining the Spopes army. You can also share the video to give it a wider reach. Lord, thank you for making ESO. Thank you for making it such a great game in so many ways. Thank you for the amazing player base, for so many people of faith. There are so many people also who are open to people being of faith. God, I thank you for our receptive and diverse community. And I just ask that you inspire Zos to keep the community strong and alive by making the game truly better, by making them unafraid to face feedback head on and to make changes to the game that are direly necessary for it to continue to thrive and even survive into the future. Lord, I ask that you bless my channel. I give all glory to you for any success I've had so far. I give all glory to you for everything in my life, and I profess my love for you and for your Son, Jesus Christ. I ask that you intercede on my behalf and continue helping my channel grow and continue alleviating the problems in my personal life that have been plaguing me this last week. I thank my community for all their prayers and support. I ask that you continue to inspire them to pray for me as I continue to go through trials in my life. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Okay, everybody, thanks. Again, I wasn't trying to be overly negative here. I just really feel like it's important to give voice to these frustrations. And what ultimately inspired this was when I went in with my low-level tune and didn't get any XP for monster kills from siege camps. Then it all just kind of started stacking up in my head, like all the things that are just not good about this event. So I hope you appreciate the video. Please do comment with your thoughts, like and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, don't forget to turn on notifications because I'll be back soon with new content.